everyone, in today's video we're going to be comparing two zoom lenses. I have the Samyang 24-70 f2.8 and I have the Tamron 28-75 f2.8 G2 lens. I'm using both these lenses on the Sony A7III camera body, each with the exact same settings and setup. We're going to be taking these lenses out to a portrait photo shoot, so we're going to compare them out in the field, and we're going to be taking photos at all the focal lengths of these lenses. So let's start. I was thinking if we start here, if you could sit on that little patch of grass. I'm going to start with like a wide angle photo. So maybe if you have kind of one leg crossed. Oh, that looks so cool there. For this portrait photo shoot with our model Bodhi, Lydia on makeup, and Dan filming the behind the scenes, we're going to be shooting with natural light in a few different locations with lots of unedited comparisons to take a look at. So I'll switch to the Tamron 28-75. 75? I'm going to switch to the Tamron 28-75 and we'll start off with a wide shot here as well. And I'll make sure we have just the same settings too. 1/500. From my experience in using both these lenses, there are a few different factors that can help if you're stuck deciding which is the right zoom lens for you. So let's start with the easy one while we get a couple of wide-angle portraits in our first location, which is form factor.
Oh, he's so beautiful.
The Samyang 24-70 f2.8 is a fairly large lens weighing 1,027 grams versus the Tamron 28-75 f2.8 G2, which is a smaller lens in size, weighing about half of the Samyang zoom at 540 grams. So right off the bat, form factor can make a very important impact in deciding which lens is right for you. Okay, so I'm gonna get a shot at 35 next. Oh, that looks really cool with your elbows there. Lovely. Some photographers prefer smaller and lighter lenses, which you can use for long days of shooting, hiking, street photography, or as a daily lens. A smaller lens like the Tamron G2 would suit a small camera body such as the Sony A7III. On the other hand, some photographers do also prefer larger lenses as they are easier to hold. The Samyang 24-70 would suit Sony's larger camera bodies like the A7 series or the A7R III or 4. So I'm going to switch the Tamron to 35mm and I'll get some more portraits. While shooting with both lenses, they did both feel comfortable for me and balanced on the A7 III. Usually at a portrait photo shoot, the size and weight of a lens doesn't really bother me. However, it can become something to consider if you shoot weddings or spend extended hours with your camera. If you stand just in there. So in this spot, we've got this beautiful like leafy bush in the background because I want to see the bokeh difference between both lenses, and I'm going to shoot these at 50mm. The sun's actually gone behind a cloud too, so these are not as vibrant as the last photos that we were taking. In our next location, I positioned Bodhi in a location where we could have two different depths to look at in the background. We have the background that is closer to the subject and the background that's far away to take a look at the bokeh. When you zoom in to 100%, the bokeh from the Samyang lens looks very defined and round. If you like having very prominent bokeh, this could be the lens to go for. I think it looks really beautiful, and even though it's defined, it doesn't distract from the subject. So now I'm on the Tamron at 50mm as well, and I'll do my best to frame both photos to look as similar as possible. The Tamron bokeh looks softer compared to the Samyang, so you have a slightly more subtle look to the background, but it's also clean and looks great in the background as well. The bokeh closest to Bodhi looks almost identical with both lenses. Similarly, when you zoom out and look at the photos as a whole, the bokeh in the top left-hand corner also looks extremely similar. So I don't think bokeh or background blur is a deciding factor between both these lenses. Both the Tamron and the Samyang lenses excel in this category.
And then I also want to get just a close-up shot here too. Yes, this is just a close-up. That looks so good. God, the lighting in this place is just like incredible.
Next, I'm taking extreme close-up photos of Birdie at 70mm on both lenses to take a look at sharpness. As we've been seeing in these comparison photos so far, both lenses have great sharpness and clarity to them, especially in these close-up portraits. Both lenses look so stunning with a good amount of detail, but I know that's not super helpful if you're trying to decide between both of them.
So with the Tamron, I do want the focal length to be the same, so I'm going to try and have it at about 70. Doesn't tell me where 70 is, so I'm just going to guess it's about there.
What I think the difference with these lenses is the render. From the photos I took this afternoon, I would say the Tamron had slightly sharper images compared to the Samyang. However, the Samyang photos are still sharp and also have a really beautiful character that is very unique to Samyang glass that I usually talk about in all my Samyang videos. For this reason, I personally would choose this Samyang 24-70 lens if I'm after a zoom lens to primarily take photos of people, as it's such a stunning render for portraits. The Tamron, on the other hand, I would personally choose that if I'm looking for an all-rounder lens to shoot a bit of everything, from portraits to street photography, travel, and things along those lines. Again, the size and weight plays into what I believe each lens will be most used for.
Okay.
I have a few different comparison photos to show you in this spot when we were shooting with harsh backlight in our frame. I'll share the individual photos from each lens first and then show you 3 comparisons with different backlighting at the end. Both lenses performed really well in this lighting. Neither lens struggled to get focus on the subject, which is great to see, and I also have plenty of sharp photos to choose from with both lenses. Shooting with backlight can usually show us when a lens is weaker, since this is tricky lighting to focus in, but they both performed great.
Perfect, and let me quickly switch because the sun's gonna go away as soon as I'm ready to shoot.
Again, in some of these comparison photos, you can see the sharpness of the Tamron really cut through in the strong backlit shots. However, I feel like the Samyang photos have a very cinematic, beautiful look to them overall.
That looks so cool.
I chose photos with as similar lighting as possible. We have 3 comparison photos to look at. One where Birdie was covering the sun, when the sun was cutting through, and when the sun would cause the frame to be completely washed out, so we can see both lenses in a couple of different scenarios. In the last comparison photo is where you can see the lens flare, as I frame the shots to have the most backlight. The Samyang lens flare is quite defined and large in the frame, and the Tamron lens flare is a little softer and blends in more, which I like. But this is just one lighting situation. If you watch the review videos I created for both lenses, you can see more examples of the lens flares in different lighting situations.
So I want to show you guys the difference between 24 and 28 millimeters, because it is a little bit of a difference, but it does make a difference. So I'll just show you here. So if I frame the photo just about there, so that's what 24 millimeters on the Samyang looks like. And then if I move to the 28 without moving around anywhere, and then we also have a different focal length on the long end as well. So I'll just stand back and take a photo at 75. So just there. So this is 75 on the Tamron, and then this would be 70 on the Samyang.
Finally, both these lenses have slightly different focal lengths, so which one should you go for? I'd love to hear your opinions on this in the comments, but I do think that a 4mm difference on the wide end is more visually noticeable than a 5mm difference on the long end. If you're taking portraits, maybe using these lenses as a daily lens, taking photos of your family, pets, travel, I've shown throughout this video that you can frame both lenses in a way that they look extremely similar to each other. You can still get that cool wide-angle look out of the Tamron for portraits at 28mm. Where I think you might be able to feel the difference with the wide end is if you shoot indoors, street photography, landscapes, maybe urban cityscapes as well. I do believe having a lens that goes a little wider can come in handy for that kind of photography. Overall, I do think these are both trustworthy lenses and you can't go wrong when choosing between either one. Which one you go for really comes down to personal preference and your style of photography. So hopefully seeing these side-by-side photos is going to help you out.
So let me know what you think of both these lenses down in the comments. Do you prefer one over the other? Let me know why. But as always, thank you so much for watching. I make new videos every single week, so I will see you all next time. Bye.